KBLA Talk 1580 is joined in this historic effort by both public and private partners including LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Cal and Dow, the Sierra Club, and many other partners. There's a clear connection between Dr. King's moral conscience on the notion of reverence for all human life and the future of our world house. This year, on the MLK holiday weekend, KBLA assigns itself the task of elevating the climate conversation by amplifying the voices of those who are most impacted by the climate catastrophes we are witnessing in real time. Stay tuned for more details. At KBLA Talk 1580, Climate is King.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Is it the strength of your feelings overthrowing your pain? You sin, you hide to be reaching. And is it today that you will find your new release, and in your wake ripple your sweet flight?
And more tune for your head top, so watch how you speak on my name, you know?
I couldn't get a bill paid, you couldn't buy the real thing. I was staying up at your place, trying to figure out the whole thing. I saw people doing things, almost gave up on the music thing. But we all so spoiled now, more life, more everything. Must've never had your phone tapped, all that yapping on the phone. You must really love the road life, all that never coming home. Free smoke, ayy. Free smoke, ayy. Free smoke, ayy. Don Rose toes, hitting hills where I pose. I start my day slow.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And we got free smoke for everybody tonight. We joining Katt Williams on the train. I hope that you are relaxed and enjoying your Wednesday. We have got, as the station says, a lot to get into. Of course, this is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture with me, your host, Jill Munroe. And tonight's topics, listen, Katt Williams has the internet on fire. You know, I saw yesterday when Shannon Sharp posted just a photo of he and Katt, and he said, we're going to break the internet tomorrow. He said it. And listen, it dropped at 9 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube. Last I checked, it already had 2 million views. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to get into it in this first hour. Katt Williams had a lot to say and lit the entire industry. He lit him up. And he came with some receipts. And, of course, I went to look at some of the receipts to make sure the receipts were receipting. And we're going to get into all of that. We're also going to get into Amber Rose. She said that she's tired of not speaking up and not being her authentic self. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the second hour. And then in hour 3, we are going to get into T.S. Madison's response to Boosie's response on The Color Purple. You know, here's the thing with that. Like, and Boosie, you know, he's had a lot of commentary about topics relating to the community for quite a while now. And I do have a question to ask about his question, but we'll get into all of that later. But before we do, you know that we always start the night with a couple of conversation starters. These are stories that we don't have time to get into full details about, but I want to let you know what's going on because, of course, that's what we do here on RSVP. We keep you in the know. Oh, if you aren't, make sure you're following us on social media. Hit us up everywhere. KBLA 1580. I'm, of course, at Stiletto Jill. Make sure you hit me up and follow me. Also, if at any point tonight, and I feel like this is a night where you want to call in and maybe give your opinion, 800-920-1580. That's the number for the phone line, so you can call and add your commentary to the topics that we discuss. So, Teyana Taylor, we know that she's going through a divorce right now from Amon Shumpert. We know that she mentioned that her career, her status, caused problems within the relationship, and he was a little intimidated by it. Well, she also, during that time period, announced her retirement from music. And people thought it was strange. You know, Teyana, if you haven't seen her perform, she holds it down. She's an excellent performer. We've seen that as far as her creative director segments that she has, you know, done for various artists at this point, directed some videos and what have you. Well, she previewed new music on her Instagram and sounds a little fire. And so she, I guess, is coming back out of retirement because she probably was only retiring to, you know, make her then boo happy and so that he wouldn't feel intimidated. Because, you know, these are the sacrifices that you make when you're in love and you're in a marriage sometimes. But now we're past that, so we can get back to the money. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Teyana drops this time around. And Lil Bow Wow, you know, Bow Wow seems to be having baby's mama drama. And he entered us into the group chat by putting up on his Instagram story today, "I wish my baby mother got ran over by a Mack truck. Not Joy. The bum, B.I. Y'all don't know." We don't know what prompted this. Bow Wow has since deleted it. But why? Why, Bow Wow? Are you that frustrated? Apparently, right? Tony Yayo in the chat says, Katt dominated the news cycle. However, this Epstein list is a major dud so far. And I told you guys it would be. That we're going to talk about that a little bit in hour 3, but it's a 900-page document. It was just released short while ago, and it's not a list. It is documents relating to the 2016, I believe, lawsuit that was brought up against Ghislaine Maxwell. But we'll get into all of that later. Right now, stay where you are. Get ready, because we got a conversation about this Katt Williams stuff on the other side. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts. Hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the Evan-On, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, Katt Williams, he dropped an interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay that, as I mentioned, has had everybody talking all day. It's, I think, 2 hours and 45 minutes long, so almost 3 hours, and he had a lot to say. And some receipts, and of course, you know, the internet, they're going to do their job. They're going to do their due diligence. And if you mention something, somebody is going to take it upon themselves. Like, well, let's see. Let's go see if we can dig up the receipts for all of this information that you are providing. Now, I will say, one, I really enjoy Katt Williams and always have. Does he do some outlandish things sometimes? Sure. But don't most comedians? Isn't that why we're attracted to them? I don't, do you rank him? Is he someone that you put in your top 5? Is he someone that you forget about? Is he someone that you even think belongs? I think that there's credence to some of what he says about his work independently. But, well, let's just see. The first clip that we're going to get into is Rickey Smiley was a guest on Club Shay Shay, and he shared a story about the fact that he originally auditioned for the role of Money Mike in, is it Friday After Next? Yeah, it's Friday After Next. And he said something happened, and they ended up switching the roles, and he was Santa Claus. Katt Williams says, nope, that is not exactly how that went down. And he then went on to explain not only his version of events, but also to say that he had it put in his contract for the next film that he did, that Rickey Smiley also did, that stated Rickey Smiley would have to be in a dress to be in that movie. Now, the side note to that is we know that one of Rickey Smiley's largest characters, most popular characters, was a church lady. I don't remember what her name was, but, you know, it was around there. So we'll get into that on the other side. Let's hear the first of Katt's haymakers.
He told you the story about when the movie came out. Where did he say he watched it? At home. He wasn't even at the premiere. You telling this man, you stole that. Oh, so he could get his name in the same sentence with a great one. It is sad. He was just that bitter when we were shooting it. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was...
Sir, no one... Why no... He was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? You talking about in Hollywood, they switched off roles. You take this and he... What?
So
Rickey Smiley knows this. And I don't know why he would lose a child and come on the air and start lying. That's why people believe in rituals right there. Is because, well, why would he lie? I don't know why liars lie. But I can tell you this. We auditioned in Los Angeles.
So, essentially, Katt is saying that everybody, and we're going to hear some other clips, has borrowed or been creative or wanted to be associated to some degree in his name, right? With his name. Is it possible? It definitely is, because we know that in any space, right? But especially something that involves situations where some people think there can only be one. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, and it can definitely be competitive, right? So, I don't know if he had I don't believe he had an example about he and Rickey. Well, what he said was essentially, how could Rickey Smiley have been Money Mike when he wrote a lot of the dialogue for it? That they allowed him to make changes to the character because he was so tapped in, even though it was his first film. He shared a story that in the original script, Money Mike was supposed to be assaulted more than he was in the film by Terry Crews's character. I think, was it Damon? Is that what his name was when he just got out of jail? I can't remember. The landlord's son. You remember the whole storyline with Money Mike and the son. Katt said that he told the producers and writers, Cube included, that rape is never funny, no matter who the victim was. And that there are better ways that you can express comedy. You can express funny things and not utilizing rape. Because if you want this film to be a classic, it can't be a classic comedy, he said, with that type of scene in there. And I think that, and this is something else that he shared, he also said that he felt as though, you know, people speak a lot about comedy in the current sense and what can't go in current times. And he basically said, that's fine. You just have to adapt. As language changes, as it always does, you know, slang, what's appropriate, you move and change with it. Because if you're funny, you're funny. And you have a depth as far as, you know, dialogue, language, etc., etc. Shout out to Brother Alfonso in the chat. He said, Happy New Year to you as well. Crystal Waite said, Katt said what he said. And Thomas Outlaw says, some people go to shows with axes to grind, aiming at a certain few. Katt was street sweeping the industry. I fear the retribution coming from this interview. That's interesting. Do you think Cedric, who we'll get to what his comments are and the receipts that the internet has pulled up. But this is his beef with Cedric the Entertainer is one that he's been talking about for years. It stems from the Kings of Comedy and Cedric's joke to end that set. If you remember, Cedric told the joke about being a black man in a space shuttle and how we would whip it and how, you know, the music up and da-da-da-da. Well, on Comic View, Katt told a joke that was similar in nature. But here's the thing. Do I feel Cedric may have borrowed some of that joke? I do. But, so Katt's joke was similarly about a black man in a car, but he was talking about when your car breaks down, when you're in the hood, and how you got to get out and push. But there was it was a lot of physical comedy, which is why I'm not playing both clips for you here now, because a lot of it is what you need to see with the visuals and not so much just the dialogue, although that plays a role in it. It definitely seemed inspired by, but Ced kind of perfected it. But that doesn't make it okay. That's just my opinion. Cedric did respond, but before we get into what Cedric's response was, let's hear a little bit of the street sweeping, as Thomas Outlaw called it, that Katt did of not just Cedric. He had a little bit for Steve as well. Earthquake inadvertently got some, couple others. So let's hear.
What is your relationship with Steve Harvey, Rickey Smiley, and Cedric the Entertainer as you sit here currently?
They've For 30 years, they're a group. These aren't three random guys. The way that Rickey Smiley kept appearing at all of my auditions is because of Steven said he would tell anybody that, listen, they got a gang on that side. They know what it is. They know who the gang is. Why Earthquake not in movies? 'Cause he's illiterate. He can't read. And they found that out when they gave him a show and put the cards in front of him. Like, all of these dudes are co-entwined and they share secrets. And this is the age of truth. And the truth doesn't need to be scared of the fact that people tell lies. Cats on drugs. Where are the stories? Why is there no story of anybody who ever sold a drug to me, did a drug with me, was around me when I was inebriated? I got 5 dogs.
So we're not going to touch the other part, but I don't know. If you feel like you've been in a position where, comedy is a close-knit group, right? There is a circuit, much like, any other thing of that nature, where there are a few people that you see over and over again, right? With Steve, he just feels like Steve maybe isn't as talented as he believes himself to be. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can't really, if that's what he feels, that's what he feels. But he did mention a beef that Mark Curry, who's a comedian, I don't know if you remember the show, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. They used to come on back in the 90s. And I think actually Mark Curry used to be one of the, Sinbad was a host at Showtime at the Apollo. I think Mark Curry was a host for Showtime at the Apollo at one point as well. And Mark Curry had a beef with Steve because he said that Steve took one of his entire jokes and used it in his comedy routine. Well, the internet went and found receipts. Mark Curry actually talked about this on a Fox Soul show called Mike and Donnie. And what he said was there was a joke he did he said it was about his real life, his actual life, what really happened to him when he was a kid, that his mom, I think his mom had 6 kids, 8 kids. He had a number of siblings and that they were poor. And so one of his Halloween costumes, he said it would be a box. And people would ask what he was. He'd be like, I don't know. She didn't tell us. I guess I'm UPS or something like that, right? So this was in 1999. There's video footage of it. In 2015, on the Steve Harvey show, it was Halloween. And Steve told the exact same joke, except instead of his mom, he said it was his dad and the box and the UPS thing. So, much like with hip hop, comedy is something where people have writers. Sometimes they write jokes for them. They pitch jokes. A lot of that happens. There's stories all the time about people writing for people, waiting for their break, especially for women comedians. Sometimes they would finally get the opportunity to write for someone or write with them, but wouldn't necessarily get that break for themselves. One of the things that's been said is that Katt Williams is a male comedian who put a lot of female comedians on, that he shared his space and his time. They also discussed, and you saw it across social media, some comedians saying, hey, I did a show with Katt Williams. We weren't supposed to be paid. Katt slid me $700. That was the most I ever made for a comedy tour or whatever. So one of the things that we can say about Katt is that whatever you think about him, he seems to be very honest and consistent, right? I will say, though, and I saw someone that mentioned this on Twitter, like, he'll tell a story and it'll be all the way true, and then for some reason it'll veer off into some fantastical lie or story. I wonder if that's just a comedian thing and the storytelling thing, because some of those things, like he was saying that in the interview, and I haven't finished watching all of it, but that by 7 he was reading 3,000 books a year. and that he can run a 4.4, and he would have had a football scholarship or something in sports if he had stayed in school and been able to. And I don't know about that. That might be just a slight exaggeration. But I do think that he also said that there are cliques that happen within comedy, and that all of the same people tend to work with each other, which we know that to be the case in a lot of situations and industries. Why? Because people want to work with their friends. So he's not necessarily wrong with that. At any rate, let's hear what he had to say about Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said it don't line up. How it don't line up? He thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke and nobody would know. Right. The issue was that I had already done this particular joke on BET's Comic View twice. Right. It had done so well on BET's Comic View that they had made it part of the commercial. So part of the commercial of make sure you tune in to BET was you seeing me doing this joke. So this is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my closing joke. Okay. 1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship. Him and Steve had already apologized for me, so I gave him a pass for a decade. Why would you sit here and be like, I saw Katt 30 times, and Katt didn't do, as I stand before you, Shannon, I would have bust Cedric's stomach. There was nothing that would have kept me from one of these in that patch right there. Like, are you kidding me? Why would you downplay me like that? Why did I give you a pass if you were just gonna lie? Cedric sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star. What?
It's a situation.
He never wrote anything. Remember, when Cedric the Entertainer starts, he's supposed to be singing, dancing, and telling jokes. That's why he's called the Entertainer. Right. We found out he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? They're so bad that they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
You don't think Ced's a good comedian?
The world doesn't think that, sir. I have 12 comedy specials. He has 4 specials that are not available on Netflix or Tubi. And this is the age of truth, and the truth doesn't need to be scared of the fact that people tell lies. Katt's on drugs. Where are the stories? Why is there no story of anybody who ever sold a drug to me, did a drug with me, was around me when I was inebriated? I got 5 daughters. I got 5 sons. Why would we tell these ridiculous stories? Because it's competition.
Now, I'm reading Katt Williams won Cedric the Entertainer's Anheuser-Busch Best Los Angeles Comic Award. Did you win that award, won Katt Williams? It's a simple yes or no. It's not a rhetorical question.
It's a question that probably should have been asked to Cedric the Entertainer.
I'm asking you. I got you here, though.
I know. I couldn't believe Cedric didn't get asked that question. You steal a dude's joke and then give him an award, and then 10 years later you don't know nothing about it. Hey, but I promise you this.
What?
If he sees me again before he sees you, he'll be talking different when you see him. That's for certain. That's the difference. That's what these comics understand, is that I'm not doing nothing for clout. I don't even recognize clout. But eventually the Lord is going to let me and you be in one hallway. A lot of these dudes go.
But you did win the award. How did the award help your career? It had to help some, Katt.
Nope. No.
God, come on, Kat.
I didn't remember it happened to you. Just said it. How can Cedric give you an award that was worth something? Everything Cedric and Rickey Smiley ever been in got canceled for not being funny.
Listen, when we come forward, we're going to dive into those comments and plus a few more that we are not going to necessarily air, but discuss. All of that on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott is talking about his administration's gun violence prevention strategies for the new year. Speaking at a public safety press conference, Scott, who is black, said they want to continue to target illegal guns by going after straw purchasers, gun traffickers, and those who sell guns that they know will end up on the streets of Baltimore. Homicides decreased in Baltimore by more than 20% last year, and non-fatal shootings were down by more than 6%. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is announcing a statewide broadcast event to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in conjunction with the January 15th holiday. The annual commemoration of Dr. King's life and legacy, known as New York State Celebrates Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., will air on PBS stations throughout New York statewide beginning MLK weekend. The one-hour tribute showcases people and organizations from across the state that embody the principles of one of America's most significant leaders for social justice, freedom, and equality. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, pursuing justice through participatory democracy. Listen to KBLA Talk 1580 Saturday morning, January 13th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for an exclusive forum featuring the candidates for LA County District Attorney. Join KBLA's Tavis Smiley as he helps navigate what promises to be a forum full of fire when the candidates trying to unseat current LA DA George Gascon come together on stage on the campus of the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. Again, it's the LA County District Attorney Forum, live, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580, Saturday morning, January 13th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Helping to raise your civic IQ. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Happy holidays from the Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. DCBA is spreading the warmth this season with the Los Angeles County Rent Relief Program. Visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. This program is available to landlords with unpaid rent expenses in Los Angeles County, excluding the city of LA. If you are a landlord with unpaid rent, you could be eligible for a grant of up to $30,000 per unit. Tenants with unpaid rent are also welcome to refer their landlords to apply for this program. To learn more about the program or to apply, visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. This program is administered by the County of Los Angeles through its Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. Visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. www.lacountyrentrelief.com. Hey LA, save water and put money in your pocket with rebates from LADWP. Start saving with free shower heads and faucet aerators. Then save with every flush when you upgrade to a water-efficient toilet and get a $250 rebate. You can also save on every load of laundry with a high-efficiency clothes washer and get a $500 rebate. That's right, LADWP customers can get $500 rebates on qualifying clothes washers. See all the ways to save at ladwp.com/save.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
No, I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, it's another one of those Snoop Diggle Double G LT hunting things. Yeah, we all off in the hills right about now. It's about 2 in the morning. Say what? Say what? Got a big C-style on the grill. Keeping it way real. Dog, happy C-Day, my nigga. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, the D.O.G. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, the D.O.G. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, the D.O.G. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, the D.O.G. Any problems, holla at my dog. Holla at my dog.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. If you got beef with Jay. Okay, I like that song. And that is Charlie Wilson hitting that on that hook, right? I know it is, because listen, when Charlie hits those ad-libs, it's not another voice like it. That bass, that vibrato brings it. So how appropriate that we're talking about beef. We continue the beef sector. Katt Williams. You know, the chat already, they have a lot of opinions jumping off. So let's get into some of them. Oh, and it is Wednesday. And our Keep It Real friend is in the building. You know, we're going to get his commentary on all of this. Trent Jackson, Trent the artist, in the building to join us to hit these trending topics. How are you today,
Happy
Trent?
New Year. Trent Jackson decided to show up to the building.
Welcome. Welcome in. Welcome to the party, Trent.
Happy 2024. Thanks for having me this year.
Always, of course. So here's what the chat is saying, right? And we love that. Pretty Brown Mimi says, is it me, or when you hear from Katt Williams, he's dragging his fellow comedians rather than his artistry? He's talented, but he comes off as jealous. I don't think he's jealous because he thinks he's better. I know that that can be a symptom of jealousy. I think that he is speaking what he believes to be his truth. And he feels like there are two crews or two cliques. And this is where he is, not clicked up, you know, but over here on his side, and they are over there. And he is simply saying what he feels is on his mind. He's been saying some of the same things for quite a while. Now, do I think that, again, everything is 100% all the way there? No, but the things that I'm talking about that I have questions about aren't really the things that he's providing receipts with. There are things, like I mentioned, that when he was 7, he read 3,000 books and he can run a 4.4. I don't know. I got to see proof of that, maybe. Andy?
Man, Katt Williams ain't got to be jealous for any of these comedians.
I mean, like Straight you mentioned, he has a number of specials that he writes, produces, and directs himself. Now, here's the thing. You can say what you want. It may not be Madison Square Garden or da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you are exhibiting that amount of control over your projects, that means that, and in his case, he independently produces them, the financial risk is his, and the financial benefits are his as well. So in some cases, even though his stuff may not be as wide or as, and it's hard to say that something with Katt Williams isn't embedded into the culture consciousness, because we all quote Money Mike, right? I mean, people probably don't even realize they're quoting Money Mike when they say some of the lines and some of the actions. But when you're independent, right, and you're your own boss, sometimes your share is going to be greater than someone that is working for one of the larger entities, right? But you pay for that with taking the risk and the responsibility of holding it down on your own. He did mention that his deals with Netflix, and he said he's done 12 of them, are 8 figures. And remember, we had the lesson on 8 figures a couple of years ago. That means 10 million and up. He said that, when they list his net worth on the internet, he's like, oh, I got more than that in my pocket. But he is content with you thinking that maybe he doesn't have money. So, I don't know. That's that. Trent, you're looking like, what? It's a lot.
What did I just walk into?
Right. You walked into the Katt Williams.
Woke up in 2024 to drama.
Typhoon, tsunami.
Every day.
All of that. Urban Spinster says, all I know is Katt ran off on that Atlanta episode as Gator Man. He did, and he got an Emmy for it, as he should have, because that was great. Pretty Brown Mimi says Katt Williams has 10 kids. Have men stopped using condoms? I think it's 7, and I think that the majority of them are adopted. I know that several are. Don't know the exact number, but he has been a single father for quite some time. Not really sure. He does go into some of that story in the interview. As I mentioned, I haven't listened to the whole thing. Thomas Outlaw says, Katt could get away with some of this because he was being interviewed by Shannon Sharpe. I wonder if a higher octane interviewer would press him more. Potentially, but I think one of the charming things about there are some things that I might have wanted a follow-up question or some more depth in, but I also keep in mind that, 1, this interview was almost 3 hours long. 2, I think that this isn't one of those type of interviews, or Shannon doesn't come across to me as the type of interviewer that is going to probe in that way. His stack of cards for his notes was extremely thick, right? But that is necessarily going to probe in that way. He's not giving you Barbara Walters, Diane Summer, and Connie Chung. But I think that is part of the charm, and new media is new media, using that term for a reason. And I also subscribe that you would not have gotten the same interview with someone that you consider might ask that follow-up question, not because I feel that Katt is afraid of the follow-up question, but just because he might not have been as open or as willing to express himself in the same manner had it have been with someone else. Brother Alfonso says, you can't get this type of interview outside of YouTube. Shannon is a great interviewer, but no one can contain Katt Williams in a discussion or interview. I agree with that as well. And Crystal Waite says, I think Katt speaks on what he knows, and depending upon how you view the person he's speaking on determines how you take what he says to heart or not. I feel all of what he said can be true. I mean, maybe for some people, I think that's a lot of people. They're going to base their decision based off their experience, their depth of knowledge. For me personally, I don't know if that was to me personally, but for me, I don't I enjoy to varying degrees all of these comedians. I have enjoyed moments from them. I have enjoyed sets. I think they all do different things well, you know? It is what it is. Every comedian, every joke, every perspective is not going to match up with everyone. Like I said, the things that I'm talking about take with a grain of salt are the things that sound, you know, a little more outlandish, a little more braggadocious. It seems like it may be a little sugar on the shine with the story, but who knows? We'll see. And listen, I don't know. I was thoroughly entertained. Like I said, 2 million views in less than 8 hours. Everybody was too. So, Trent the artist. What are your thoughts on Katt Williams?
I like Katt Williams. And, of course, when you say things that are naturally against the grain or not popular in opinion, people are going to mark it as, you know, sensational, not the truth. He could be stretching it. He could be saying whatever. You know, people are going to have whatever. But I think, again, he's somebody that we can rely on to speak honestly and in truth about whatever he's saying. And I think that's the beauty of Katt Williams. He can say whatever he wants to say, and no one can really, you know, challenge it, because we feel it's the truth. But it's, sometimes the things are so far left, it can't be true. And that's kind of the unsettling thing about the truth. It's like sometimes when somebody takes it a little far too left, it's like, this can't be true. It can't. It's so far-fetched it can't be. But we know that life is sometimes crazy, so it can be far-fetched sometimes.
Because he talked about, for example, leaving home at 14, and he said the reason why he doesn't do drugs or date white women is because when he was homeless, he spent a lot of time in a park. And that he had never met a person there who was homeless that was addicted to crack, heroin, opioids, or whatever, that said my life was made better by using those things. So he said for him, he doesn't always have to experience things to learn the lesson, and that was the lesson that he took with him, right? As far as drug use. Sounds good. I don't know, right? But I'm a rock with him. He says weed and alcohol, that's as far as he goes, and nicotine. That's it. He also said the reason why he wouldn't date a white woman is because he said your whole world can be over with in 2 weekends. Just look at Kang the Conqueror. And he did use that example of running down the street. He said he would have to be running down the street from a white woman as well. And he just never wanted to see himself in that position. And Shannon was like, don't do that. Don't say that. And he was like, you know, that's the way it is, and I'm going to protect myself. He was like, I like all people. I'm not racist. I'm pro-black and anti-racism, and I don't love, you know, anyone any differently. He was like, but those women aren't for me for that reason.
Well, if you look at, excuse me, if you look at the track record of black men who dated white women, I mean, we can kind of do the math problem there. Look at what happened with Jonathan Majors.
That was what he said. He said he didn't.
I mean, let's just use that last example, you know, and let's just bank on that.
I don't know, but what I will say, right, is that Katt has a special on Netflix right now, I believe.
I mean,
and you know, I think that we should all check it out and be supportive of him. Shannon brought up that other comedians, I mentioned this earlier, have said that how Katt has just sent them money just if they did a good set. And he said part of the reason why he does it too, and sometimes they said that he would send women to do it. And Katt paused when answering that question, and I was like, in my mind, because I could read Katt's face, I was like, he's not asking you like you think, but you answered like you thought. You understand what I mean by that? So Katt said that his response was that he prefers working with women. He doesn't want to hear a man's face, and he would rather smell a woman's breath than a man's. And so 75% of his staff is women. But I don't think Shannon was asking in that way. But I think Katt was taking it in that way because that might have been an activity that he participated in. He did admit to participating in it at one time or another. You know, Money Mike's profession.
Yes.
So,
I get what's going on in the room.
But what he said was the reason why he would send money to comedians, you know, is that, one, if you killed something but you're not getting paid, or you're just, you know, only getting paid a little money, doesn't it feel good to be rewarded and there's nothing tied to it? It's just because you did a good job. You don't have to worry about somebody coming back and high-signing on you, you know, or that he's going to pull out and ask him to thank him in any particular way or manner. And so he said that that is why it is important to him to do that. So.
Yeah, and I think because he's been in that position himself.
Correct.
That's why he does it, and I don't think a lot of people understand that is the motivation about why some people do the things they do. They just don't want people to even experience some of the things that they had to on their ascend. But also, the other side of that is sometimes too, what people don't get is like you do these sets and you don't get paid. A lot of the times.
Things happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it is. And struggling artist is
it's a real
archetype
thing.
For a reason, right?
Yes.
Also included in the interview, he said that a lot of the movies that Kevin Hart has appeared in came across his desk or sat on his desk for a long time. And I believe him to a degree about this because, one, physically, they're the same, you know, phenotype, right? To a degree. And we'll get into the other reason on the other side. When we come forward, we'll have more on Katt Williams' explosive interview that has the internet buzzing, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertiri Plessy. Nefertiri felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, Katt Williams, he was lighting it up. I was letting Trent hear some of the other clips that he may not have been aware of. And, you know, one of the reasons why he said that he's turned down some of the films that Kevin Hart appeared in, which, for the record, wouldn't be uncommon, you know, for most things, unless it's a star vehicle made just for you. You aren't going to be the only person that gets offered the role. So I don't think that there's anything wrong per se with him saying that. But he said that he had requests with the scripts, and that's why they didn't move forward with him. He asked for them to be less what, in his mind, he felt they sometimes were a little step and fetch it in some of the jokes and some of the comedy that was put in there. He said that when Martin Lawrence took his hiatus, he wanted him to come back with him in Big Mama's House and play the role that eventually went to Brandon T. Jackson. He said that he suggested Brandon T. Jackson to them because he refuses to put on a dress. And that is his standing. He thinks that there are, you know, things that are not in his character that he would never do, as far as, you know, a character or the type of things he believes are appropriate that he would say in some of these roles. He said Martin had already done the dress thing. Why are we doing it again? And then you want me to do it too? He said nope. And he feels like, you know, some of these things are why he hasn't been bigger in Hollywood. Your thoughts?
I agree with that. There's a certain, we talked about this before. You even mentioned it on the show this week. You have to know when to leave the party.
Man.
And it's just that simple. And here's the other catch to that. When you are in these situations, and this is with anything, you don't have to sign up for it.
You don't.
And everything is a choice. Everything that you do is a choice. Just like you can choose to walk away and say, I'm not participating.
Hollywood is too much for me. Too much for the man. Like,
yeah.
The Midnight Train to Georgia. Listen, when we come forward in hour 2, we're going to get more into this Katt Williams story. There's still a couple of things. We're going to talk about Amber Rose and how she says she's no longer being silent. And we're going to talk about Cedric the Entertainer's response on Instagram to Katt Williams. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580, News and Sports.
The worst cottage in Paso. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, D.O.G. If you got beef with DPG, holla at me, D.O.G. If you got beef with LOC, then holla at me, D.O.G. If you got beef.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott is talking about his administration's